We're back here again at the Bronco, again for another product review. Last time we were here, it was for the dash cam that clips over your mirror, that I didn't clip over the mirror. Actually made a bracket for it and put it on the dash, but that's something else. So they sent me another dash cam to check out. This one is supposed to be smaller, and we'll see what kind of features it actually has. I haven't actually opened up the bag or the box or anything like that, so we'll do that now. Let's take a look at the package. The first one I got was this larger box here. Looks like it's a Wolfbox X5. And then it looks like it's some type of extension cable. We'll take a look. And perhaps actually remembering to grab my knife will make opening this stuff a little bit easier here. I'm going to guess that this is the power adapter kit. It's very similar to the last one we looked at. Let's take a look at this and see what we have. Now, from what I understand, this has not been released yet. It is probably going to be available by the time you see this video, though. Again, instructions. I'm sure they're lovely. Let's get to the goodies. Oh, there we go. What do we have here? Oh, there we go. Very nice. Nice and compact. Small screen on there. Controls on the bottom. Another camera for the inside. Looks like some kind of even adjustable lens here. I'm hoping this is, oh, it's a sticky mount. That's interesting. And that's actually where the GPS is built into. Fantastic. Very interesting. Memory card, charging, USB-C. Okay. What else do we have in here? That looks to be another camera. Very long USB-C. I think what we're seeing here is they're using the USB-C for the video feed. That is probably my guess, because here's a power cord, and that's going to be USB-C 2. Screen protectors probably. Tools. Another sticky mount of some sort. Interesting. Lens cleaning cloth and some wiring things. Very interesting. Some flexibility there in the mount. The last one came with the memory card. This one does too. I will say that's nice to have. All right. And then let's take a look at, as mentioned before, this is the previous Wolfbox item that I reviewed. Now this is their one of their mounts that they offer, and then what I did was actually had this stainless steel bracket made from Send Cut Send, and that actually will mount to the center bolt on the Bronco. And so this sat below the mirror, but for me it really kind of just blocked too much of the windshield. The windshields aren't huge as it is. And I didn't like that this was always on and always in my face, even if you had it mounted to your rear view mirrors where it's intended to really strap around. I think it's good in concept. I'm not sure about it in practical use. So I'm excited to see how this new unit ends up working. All right, well, I'm going to get this thing installed, and we're going to come back and take a look at it. I might actually read the instructions too. A couple quick notes as I actually looked through the user manual. Interestingly, front camera is 5K apparently. Quick note here, I am looking at a pre-production camera. The production cameras that will be shipping will be at 4K initially. Rear camera is 2.5K or 440p, and the inside camera facing the rear is a 1080p. So that's pretty interesting. We'll see what kind of quality we get out of that front camera. Another neat thing here is that for mounting it, they give you some plastic film that mounts to your windshield, and then you stick the camera to the plastic, and apparently that's going to hold. Very interested to see how that's going to work out. For temporary use, I'm just going to run a USB-C from the camera up on the windshield down to the USB-C port at the base of the windshield. We'll see if I get around to doing a rear camera or not. Rear windows on Broncos, even though they're small, they're also usually pretty dang dirty, so we'll see if that's even worth doing. I've cleaned the windshield, and I think for right now a really good spot for it on here on the Bronco is actually back behind the mirror. It's probably going to block the back rear-facing camera a little bit, but honestly, it's not going to block my view that much out the Bronco, which is really nice. I had looked at maybe putting it over here, but that also will take up some space. But I think with this film that they have, I have a little bit of flexibility on where I can mount it. I can't quite get it up here, so I'm going to try it down low and see what happens. I am a little skeptical on this, but I assume that they have tested it out properly. So you may not be able to see very well, but there's a adhesive mount here, and we'll place that somewhere on the windshield, like so. Peel off that. Grab some USB-C. I don't know if I have enough cable length here for this. I think she might be just a hair short. Oh. Oh, just about perfect. Apparently the USB-C port on the dash of the Bronco puts out just under 2 amps, which apparently is not enough for this camera. So interestingly, the USB-C ports on the Bronco, which do charge other things just fine, seem to not be enough to power the camera. And it looks like I do need to use the 12-volt port in the console in order to power the camera. Of course, like I said, there is a hard mounting kit for the camera, but I haven't done that yet. As we can see, once I use the port, the cigarette lighter port, 12-volt port, it does work just fine. To get to the settings menu, swipe from left to right. We've got resolution. Interestingly, if you do record in 5K on the front camera, you do not have an interior camera available to you. So if you drop down to 4K, then the inside rear view camera actually does work. If you go to 5K, it does not. Very interesting there. We're going to record in 5K for now just to get an idea of just how good that 5K is. You can set how long your loop is, your clock settings, time zone, and then scroll down. We can confirm a memory card and such. So we'll go back to resolution 4K. There, swipe again, and now you can see that. Now you can see me from the inside camera again, shooting at 1080p here. So here's the view without the protective film over the front lens. Obviously, a lot better here. Yes, it is trash day, and we got recycling out there. So this is being shot here in 5K. The YouTube only going to be 4K. Pretty good picture. I am surprised though that the film that goes on the windshield is more apparent when you look at it, but it's not affecting on camera yet. We'll see what it does when we get some sun on the windshield. So now it's time to test this dash cam out. And by test, I mean torture test, because I'm about to put this camera through about the worst conditions one could possibly imagine. We're at dusk now, so very hard on a camera. Off-road, so we're getting a lot of bounce. And now we're having to deal with the camera's compression. So let's take a look here. The camera's doing relatively well considering how low the light is right now. But still, as we'll see just from comparing that to like an iPhone camera, it's not quite the same quality. Every camera is going to compress the video files. They're just too large to have on a small card. And unfortunately, there's also going to be some YouTube compression that you're going to see that I don't see on the original files. But there's definitely compression on the Wolfbox video here. Watch the truck ahead carefully, and you'll see it actually jumping up and down. So what we're seeing there is actually the vibration from the road compounded by the compression of the video. It's just too much for this camera to handle. The only solution would be to add some type of image stabilization in the camera, and that's just not very common for dash cams. I don't think that I've ever seen that before. And really, 99% of the time, dash cams will be used on relatively smooth roads, so you'd never see this kind of abuse to the camera. So when the Bronco's not moving, there's still some artifacts from the camera trying to shoot in low light. It's not horrible, but it's certainly still there. If you've seen some of my other videos, you've seen some of the scenery before. So for this test, I decided to go back out, starting at the Nestucca River area, moving north towards Murphy's Guard Station, and eventually ending up at Gobbler's Knob. And for comparison, here's an iPhone 14 shooting in similar light conditions. We see a lot less artifacts and very clear resolution, and the compression is just not what we're seeing on the dash cam. It took me several attempts to find the rabbit on the video footage. It goes by pretty fast, but again, the camera's doing its best in these conditions. Once again, here's the iPhone in similar conditions. Much better compression, very clear, and even in these low light conditions, just not seeing the artifacts we are with the dash cam. It took turning on my roof lights to finally get the deer to move off further into the woods. So far I'd seen the other critters when I was actually driving, but this next one I didn't actually see until I was scanning the footage, which actually goes to show that the camera does do a pretty decent job. We're looking at a very small animal here and still picked it up. Now, I'd already been up to Gobbler's Knob several times, but again, it provides some amazing views, and I was looking forward to the morning for sure. Although I'm relatively close to Portland, Oregon, I am just far enough away that I could still see the Milky Way. I was greeted in the morning to a most spectacular sunrise with the sun coming up behind Mount Hood in the background. Now here we're looking at DJI drone footage, and again, you're not seeing the artifacts you do with the dash cam. So now I wanted to test the camera against some really harsh environments here. I've been up this part of the trail before. It is healthy, steep, and not exactly smooth, so definitely giving the camera a workout for sure. Now, the last time I was at this intersection, we went left, found a great trail. Of course, this time I was going to go right. We're still not in ideal lighting conditions. It's in the morning and in the forest and all in the shades, but the camera's doing a decent job, but not perfect job of capturing the footage. I've mentioned compression a couple times, and there's really a couple factors there. One is the actual software that's being used to compress the video to make the files much smaller, and the other is bit rate, and that's the amount of information that's being stored, and that can vary quite a bit. So you can have a video that's 4K with low bit rate, and the quality will be pretty poor. As opposed to you could have video at regular 1080p with a high bit rate and it'll look spectacular. So definitely there's a couple factors going on here. So here we are in greatly improved lighting conditions. I'm still seeing a lot of artifacts, most likely from the compressions, but it's still a decent image though. In fact, while I was driving here, I could see the coyote well ahead of me. It's barely possible to pick it up here on the camera. Here's the fog rising above the Trask River. Barney Reservoir is looking pretty empty this time of year. It's time to air the tires back up, get back home, put the video together and give you my final thoughts. So what are my thoughts about this camera? Well, for one, I am shooting in 5K, which is not a released version of this camera. I did not shoot in their normal 4K that they're shipping with, and that possibly could be a little bit better. The other thing is that as a pure action type camera, something for off-roading and whatnot, I don't think this camera is quite there yet. We really need to be in the realm of the GoPro and the DJI Osmo series to really take advantage of much better image quality and less compression and no vibration. So certainly things to look out for. Maybe we'll see a dash cam in the future that has all of this, but until then, this is still a pretty decent dash cam to be working with. Now, will I be using it for my videos? Probably not. I don't really appreciate the added noise. But I do love the fact that it is a dash cam, so it does run continuously. And so I do catch things that I may not have. For example, like the bat we saw earlier. Well, stay tuned for future reviews and definitely more adventures with the Broncos.